because at the end of the day, it takes consistency, and you can't be consistent if you're always starting for something, because people got schedules, they rely on you for, the payment, yada, 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 to put you first so that you can execute your vision. So we had a good time. We got to play with puppets and do animations and a lot of cool stuff. And actually, of all the people on the episodes, I want to say 75-80% of them are, they weren't ballers then, they're ballers now. Like the guys from, one of the people from Tampa Entrepreneurs, a couple of the Instagram influencers and all that. So it was really great. And the other thing too is, because I'm not from Tampa, it was a great way to get to know who the movers and the shakers are in Tampa, because you have this platform. So I'm definitely going to do it again in a different form. Like the Eat with Dad is going to be a version of that. I look at it like Hot Wings, except for it's me and a kid, like one of my kids, maybe doing food reviews, but asking hard questions. Or it can be dad to dad, or it can be two dads and their kids. And the idea is just simply like having a good meal, but then asking some, the questions that kids might ask you that you're not even prepared for. I look at like the recent Snoop Dogg controversy where he took one of his kids to go see the Buzz Lightyear movie, and the kid was like, "Wait a minute, that lady had a baby, but it was another lady. How could two ladies have a baby?" And he wanted to answer the question. He was like, "Why you put me in this? Why you put me in this situation?" Like he's yelling at the movie. So, but that's actually a funny story, because like, how do you deal with them kind of questions coming from your kids? And I don't think there's anything like that in the space, other than a bunch of I guess you want to call them wannabe experts and psychologists and people who got all these degrees. But it's like, what is the regular person? How is he going to do this, or she going to do this with their own kid? And because it's dads, it's important to me that dads have this conversations, even if they don't want to have them. And you got to be as truthful as you can, because kids see through the lies real quick, or the inconsistencies and the hypocrisies, because they see things in black and white pretty much. And we have to teach them about the nuances and the gray areas. But at the end of the day, like, it's all in your head until you actually get put on the spot. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to perform, or are you going to fail miserably? And I think that that's the beauty of any kind of art, is putting it out there and seeing what happens. I'm sure people appreciate a beautiful ballerina show that's perfectly executed when no one falls, and there's an art to that. But there's also the art of what do you call it? Staying on your feet, or when your feet get knocked out from under you. It's kind of like a fight, like a Mike Tyson fight. Everybody has a plan till you get punched in the face, right? So sometimes it's a punch in the face, these conversations. And I feel like it's a really cool way to explore relationships between fathers and their children, and then fathers and other fathers. So that's kind of the idea there. I think it would hit, and I'm building everything now towards that.
So you would just say the Traffic Cast podcast that Storyteller Media Team helped you guys facilitate really helped you come up with the ideas for the dad content that you're doing right now, and that community that you're building?
Yeah, because I'll tell you what it taught me. It taught me to be prepared, but also don't be too prepared, right? Like, have questions, but don't stick so hard to a format that you don't allow things to happen, right? Like natural conversations. So very quickly I learned that I like preparation. So I was just thinking like a news person, right? Like what they come and they have their questions, but it's very, they always try to keep you on the topic, right? And love him or hate him, Trump knew how to weave right in and out of that kind of stuff, and tell his story and then get back in and out without letting them control the narrative, right? So there's this idea that you control the narrative, or there's just this idea like Joe Rogan. You just got a bunch of stuff, you start talking and you know a little bit about everything, and wherever the conversation goes, it goes. So finding the balance between being prepared enough to carry a conversation and not get stuck, because you will get stuck sometimes, and being flexible enough to let a thing go where it's going to go. That's what it taught me, right? Just being able to like surfing on a wave, right? You get a perfect wave, you take it all the way in, or sometimes the wave crashes you and knocks you into some rocks. You come out with a couple scars, but you go back in the water and ride the wave again. That's what conversations are. They're just waves. And,
Right.
you keep getting on them, right? Communication, all of that. So That's really, I think, the strongest thing it taught me. Also, to trust my instincts when I see that that's necessary, because I don't think a lot of people do trust their instincts because they're so busy at looking at what everybody else is doing that is successful, that they're like, well, I need to be like this one, I need to be like that one. It's like, no, you need to take all the things you like from those things and then remix it the way that seems natural to you, so you can be authentic. Because nothing sucks worse than two people trying to talk in ways to elevate themselves, and sell the person, on an idea that they're, putting out there, and presenting to an audience. Audiences ain't there to be sold. They're there to observe and be entertained and educated.
Yes.
And you don't get to dictate how that lands with them. You have to be sensitive enough to it to look at it and say, how did that, what kind of reaction did that get, and learn from it the best you can. And then, like I said, keep developing until you succeed or die.
Yeah, no, I love it. You hit the nail right on the head there. When it comes down to, just two minds really just collaborating on these ideas. And because again, like how I mentioned earlier, like a lot of people are kind of just like scatterbrained with these ideas, and they need some sort of like kind of just consistency and just kind of a structure, a framework, to just go about things and making sure, and through conversation, sometimes that's hard, right? So from there, you got to be able to navigate. Like the framework would be, okay, there's a certain framework to an extent, right? But part of the framework is to give time to have those natural conversations. I know that we discussed that as well, because there are going to be certain instances where like you're gonna want to dive into a deeper rabbit hole than what you had written down, right? So that's why it's good to be prepared. But you're right, like don't follow exactly what the script is, because that's going to take away from the authenticity, right? And one of the biggest things when it comes to like storytelling, right? You want to be as authentic as possible. If you write it down, then you're probably going to, if you write it down and you say it word for word, you're probably going to miss the emotion that you're trying to hit with it, right? And that's something that, we really, in the company, we really try to, tell our clients, like, one of the things that when we go ahead and do content is, we write out the organic scripts, but we don't do scripts for that. It's a bullet points. Bullet points because we want to go ahead and have a conversation when it comes to that, right? And there's different ways to show that emotion, right? But our job is to make sure it comes out the best way possible on camera, and also that you're prepared for that as well. Podcasting is a really good way to do it. So, just to ask you, Jason, how important do you feel like it is to have, a team or someone who knows how to strategize content to make sure that it's hitting the right audience and it's like, triggering the right emotions to your target audience? How important do you think that is?
So I'm starting to learn that now. It's definitely its own specialty, right? So, if you're, it depends on what the outcome is that you really want. Do you want views? Do you want conversion, attention? As we both know, likes don't mean shit. Comments are okay, but sales is what's going to keep you going, right? Like you got to sell something, whatever it is, yourself, your services, or your products, to actually survive, to have further conversations. Because, not too many people want to talk to a broke ass. A starving artist is what they used to call it, but like it's still starving, and nobody's trying to be starving, right? So you got to figure out the end game you're trying to play in the beginning. And I'm learning that now, because like I was never really a script. I was more of an idea person, and then do it and then create a script around what you already did. But I'm starting to learn the benefits of having an idea, and then before, and it's tough because I freestyle all the time. Like it's just like, man, and I'm good at it, but being intentional, having someone create a script that says, listen, you're going to talk about this. I know you don't want to talk about it that way, but this is what you need to talk about. I'll give you an example. Charlie Kirk, right? Like everybody's talking about Charlie Kirk today. Well, I don't know. People don't want to always hear about politics, but it's a lot of feelings around it. If I was to talk about Charlie Kirk, which I have thought about, and I kind of did reference today, I would be like, well, look, he was a dad. I'm a dad, and I'm really feeling sad or some kind of way because as a father, if I saw my child, if I knew my child saw me get, wasted like that, like the impact, like that would make me the most sad. Right. Mm-hmm. So talk about it from that angle and maybe not get into the other stuff, right? Because everybody's going to have their 2 cents about it. But at the end of the day, you ain't there for that. You're there to just put uh, your unique view on the thing, right? But if you're trying to get like views, you got to look for what's trending, and then once the audience begins to trust you, that you're not tricking them with like a headline and then turning it into something else because it's not really what you took a headline because it was trending, but you really want to sell them on your product. Like it was, you have to figure out where the balance is between getting in front of a trend and riding that wave, or but or do that for a while, let's say, till you can figure out how you want to talk about these things and what's more important than not. Get do that if that to build up an audience and people's trust, and then start to just be more you, and do that once in a while. But you gotta somebody's got to be there to tell you this is the strategy. You're gonna start here. You're gonna make nothing but you're gonna make nothing but reels. You ain't gonna be doing long ass podcasts. You ain't gonna be doing these interviews because nobody's got time for that right now. You got to do the long thing just to get the little pieces. So maybe if you go and just you get known for these little intentional pieces first, then you can take long pieces and people are going to trust you with their time because they know that from those little bite-sized pieces of you, it was worth it. So I'm ready to invest 15 minutes, 30 minutes listening to whatever you got to say. And at that point, you're the expert that they trust, not the one that wrote a book that nobody's going to read, or got in a magazine because you paid to be there, or got next to some influencer and try to take some of their shine, or you got an exotic car business and nobody gives a shit because I don't have an exotic car and it's cool if I can rent that, but all that flexing don't mean nothing to me because it don't put money in my pocket. And at least I know, like, if I'm ready for an exotic car, I'll come your way, but otherwise you're a boring motherfucker. So point I'm trying to make is this: be yourself, be intentional. Sorry if I cursed, but hopefully this ain't
Would
uh,
you? Yeah.
yeah, be passionate and just start to be you, and whoever don't like you, and whoever you vibe with, whoever caught something from that, they're going to be your 1,000 true fans. And again, that's all you need, those 1,000 true fans. That's people going to ride or die with you whatever you do, but you got to build up to that. And it starts with 10, then it gets to 100, and you keep getting up there and doing the things that don't scale. And that's another thing, the hard work of just responding to everybody and making it personal. Don't over automate in the beginning, but if you do automate, make sure that you stay on top of it, because automation can go wild. Like, you can just be getting mad messages and not even know what to do with them, and now you got a different kind of headache because people think, well, damn, I thought he was going to respond to me quicker than that. I thought he was Mr. Robot, Mr. AI, all that. Well, guess what? There's still holes in that, right? So there's this pattern that you kind of figure out who you are and if you can grow with that and how much time you can put into it. And you cannot do it without a team. Yes, you can have a bunch of chat bots, and yes, you can have automations, but you still need someone to keep you on track for the strategy, actually do the work of the recording and strategizing, because like any movie, right, there's the person who writes the movie, right, the movie in their head is different than the person who shoots the movie, the director, and the movie is different at that point. And then there's the movie that the editor cuts together, and those are three different movies, but that's what it takes to make a good movie, all these POVs. And not too many people can do all of them or all of them well. So if you don't have a team of at least 2-3 people kind of in there watching it with you and making sure that they're all playing their position and staying in their lane and getting educated on things they need to be educated on, like like a good basketball team or any kind of team, you don't have all that. You can try to make your whole life AI, but at the end of the day, it's gonna outrun you because you only got so much time and energy, right? And the robots got all the time and energy because they don't need time to rest. And guess what? Somebody out there is going to be bigger, faster, smarter, more clever than you. So you need all the big brains around you to keep aware of your blind spots if you're really trying to grow. But if you're cool and you're just cool with a hobby type business or just something that's just for fun, you don't need all that. But if you're really trying to grow, you need guys like you, because I cannot be in front of the camera, behind the camera, editing, driving the bus, getting the snacks, rubbing the star's butt or my own. All the things that you need to make any kind of content, like all these pieces, like you can only do one really good and maybe two okay, but you need people to fill in those other positions or you're going to fail, because that's kind of what happened with Crash or Cash. I mean, I didn't have anybody out there selling for me because I was too busy making content and trying to make sure that we had good stuff, right? But who was out there making sure the business was running at that time, or making that content into something that was monetizable. I wasn't paying attention to that, and it ran out of runway. So that'll happen too.
And like, listen, bro, I really appreciate you, for saying that. I think it's very helpful for any business owner really that is dealing with, or like dealing with, like, kind of like burnout. I mean, every business owner has dealt with it at some point, and wants to find ways to grow the business, but they need A players on their team. And part of that is, obviously, nowadays people are very involved in content and in putting their stuff out there. I mean, everybody's on their phones, that. So content, you're basically duplicating yourself. You're at multiple places at one time. So but they don't know how to do it and everything, right? So the strategy is definitely very important. We take very serious, and honestly, before we go and film and do anything, we make sure the strategy is on point, because we wanted to relate to your current audience. We wanted to make sure that it has that emotional effect with the storytelling aspect of it, and obviously that it relates to your personality and your brand. So bro, can you just just to kind of like wrap up everything, man, can you just let everybody know, like, what was the most favorite thing what was your most favorite thing and best thing that we did for you guys? And what's something that you would recommend to somebody who's like definitely looking for A players to put on their team, to make sure that, like, okay, cool, I could trust these guys to really make sure that they can grow my business. You know what I mean?
In terms of content production, there's a lot of pieces to the podcast. You got to rip audio, you got to have the video, because that's what's going to be, the reels. So, and also the thumbnails, right? So there's all those pieces. So you guys did I think you did the thumbnails. You ripped audio, you and two other people working on what we were doing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you delivered what you promised, or what we agreed upon, and sometimes more, because you would throw in a little extra, because we did our little fun side projects like the dad thing, and the dad party, and then running around in the what do you call it, what is it?
It was the beach day that we did.
Glarus screenshots. The beach day too. Yeah. So the beach day stuff, I forgot about that. Yeah, we did like 2 or 3 kind of extra things, because we were vibing, we were having fun hanging out. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what your offer is to people right now, because I don't, but I know that whatever you do promise, you're going to deliver. So if that's if that's all you need to hear from me, then there you go, because you did what you said. You over delivered a lot of times, and we worked well together. So now I hope we work together again on something else. I mean, I'd be looking forward to that. So yes.
Listen, something that that we really pride ourselves on is definitely following up with anybody that we worked with, and making sure that that relationship stays there, no matter if we're working together or not. At the end of the day, it's all about relationships, really. And that's how we go about it here at Storyteller Media Team. By the way, I really appreciate your feedback on that. But yeah, it's something that definitely, anybody who we worked with in the past, we always want to make sure, like, no matter, even if we're doing business, we're always there for each other, no matter what, because you don't know what could lead to that relationship. It could lead to other bigger things that you could have never even imagined or even thought about. So that's why for us it's super important, just to reconnect and make sure that things, how things are going on your end, and also kind of communicate what we do as well. So then eventually, if that time ever comes, we can go ahead and work together again. But either regardless, it's still good to know, just in case, because well, the biggest thing that we do is we want to transform people's businesses, change their lives. We transform the business, get them more leads, get them more revenue. It changes their lives. So that's the biggest mission that we have. We want to change lives more than just create videos. But yeah,
I want to thank you for something, right? So I know we were talking about the school group, and I joined yours, and even though I knew it was available, you did you put one thing in there that actually helped me so much for this week, and that is you put in that AI chat bot that they developed, the ACQ, and I went through it and I used it, and it gave me everything I needed for the next month, pretty much to
Awesome.
follow for
Yeah.
the whole, Alex Hormozy,
Yeah.
path that I'm on, right? So that was big because that has made me not so scatterbrained, because I'm always thinking of all these things, but I was like, no, I gotta at least do no matter what, I gotta at least do these first, and then everything else is after. But what that did is, you do the one thing, and then it sparks. You do that, and then it creates it gives you content for something else. So, for example, it tells you to post this. Well, yeah, you could post this, but you could also turn it into a video. You could do all these things with it after you do the first thing.
Yeah.
So now that's just like I said, you get this momentum, and then you take the one little basic idea, just because you stuck to the committed to do that one thing, and then it starts to snowball. And I've been seeing that, and it's just been like nonstop creative juices and action happening just from taking that one step that you put in your school group. So if anybody watching this is not a part of your school group and doesn't get any of the free game, then they're, because that's free. These are things you can do
free, man. That's it. All you gotta do is just absorb the information. So I'm glad that you went down the rabbit hole and you saw that post when I did it, because dude, like, I came across that just off some people that I follow on YouTube. I did it for myself, and it came up with some resolutions that I was dealing with when it comes to like just analyzing data, and also just giving some ideas, for more BSLs and scripts that we were writing. So, bro, I'm glad that you took advantage of that. I'm very happy, that you did that, because if it sets you up for the next month, like, bro, how much time did you free up just for that, right? And that's
it's not just that. It gave me instructions, but this stuff that I have in my head about how to monetize something, it untangled it and organized it, and it was just like,
love it.
Oh my God, that is great, because now I can follow this instead of just have it in a bunch of different lists everywhere. And and it helps you build up to it instead of just plopping it in front of people. Like, how do people eat? You get a little taste, you get a little drink, you get a little appetizer, and then you get that hunger going, and now you're ready for the big meal. Instead of like, bro, here's everything at the same time. And that's why people fail, because it's like, it's too much. I don't even know who this dude is. What am I going to do with all that? Like, I don't even have time to absorb it. So it definitely breaks it down in the point where you can slide into this conversation of sales, and you've been given so much value before that it's like not even a hard conversation. It's just like, yeah, man, like, just put me in. I'm down. Like, okay, great. You don't even have to sell nothing. They just like, they're ready.
That's
it.
Yeah. I love it, bro. Yeah, that's awesome, bro. Definitely happy that you're taking advantage of that. I'm gonna post more. Definitely use a lot of the school group a lot more after speaking, with one of my mentors today.
If I were you, I would take this and put this in there straight like that, because it's content, and you could just make like level 2. Here's some of our testimonials, and they could just learn off the conversation we're having. So I would just use it, right? Use everything.
Yep, for sure. I'm gonna put it on YouTube.
So YouTube, put it in the group, put it in put it flashing on a bathroom stall while they're taking a dump. It's like,
there you go. I'm gonna frame it. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. I'm gonna frame it. I'm gonna put it into a bathroom stall. Exactly.
Looking down like, oh, check you out. Yeah, what are you doing there, bro?
Scan the QR code to watch this video. It's gonna change your life, and it's gonna clear up your mind on what you should do to help grow your business. Exactly.
Can't figure out your shit, scan this code, and it's just like this conversation.
Awesome.
They got a marketing lesson out of it. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. Dude, listen, man, I appreciate you for taking the time, sit down with me just to talk about everything, share your experience of how it was working with us. Hopefully, we could definitely, work on some things in the long run. But regardless, we're here in Tampa. We're probably like 45 minutes away from each other, something like that. But we saw each other at church a few times, and dude, it's always good talking to you. It's always good bumping into you, just chopping it up. And I know, like, we were definitely always thinking about the next big thing. So I'm happy that we still have this relationship. It's been a few years now, and I'm glad that we're continuing that as well. And we're still in a way still working together. So I'm definitely happy about that.
Yeah, and I had to do this interview because I had to pay you back for that jerk cut situation.
Oh. Nah, man.
I know. I'm just messing with you, man. I just thought that was like.
I even forgot about that. Yeah,
because we thought we had a good hookup.
It was good though. It was good.
And,
yeah, like we gotta go there again, bro. We gotta try another food spot.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I've been doing.
I know.
I'm starting to learn where all the good ones are, man. So you can definitely just watch my channel for the good recs.
I just got off my 3-day fast, so I'm done with that. I did another one. I'm good. I can eat normal again, so I'm happy about that. So I'm down. Now I'm gonna go meet up and get some food again. So
Yeah. Well, we'll plan it out. Maybe we'll do a collabo on how the something like this, but actually doing what I do, which is review food, but actually have a business conversation too. So to try it out and see what happens, right?
just
All
try it
right,
out. Deli. All right, my brother. Thank you so much for everything. Got my number. You just let me know if you have any questions about anything, man. And we'll talk soon, bro.
all right, brother.
Thank you.
Good talking to you. Bye.
Have a good one.